So there are two main types of traders out there, those who treat it like a professional and those who treat it like a hobby. We're going to talk about the differences between both and what allows one group to flourish while the other group struggles. Hey, if you didn't do so already, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Also, make sure you follow me on social media at Akil Stokes, RTM. You guys ever heard of you heard of reading the tape, right? Like the old school in the pits and stuff like that, like the little numbers coming through and reading the tape, right? So reading the tape is something that if we separate kind of the two things of trading, I guess there's three things. There's professional traders and there's retail traders. But if we just separate kind of another T-chart, I'm into T-charts lately, if you were here yesterday. If you separate like the serious traders versus, take care, Raphael, versus the traders that are just like in it for a hobby, right? So the serious traders are on the floor reading the tape, right? Reading the tape is basically giving them information, right? It gives them information. It's quotes. It's the same thing you see on our headline of like little things coming down, Aussie dollar up one, down one, that fun stuff, right? Are the hobby traders doing that? Are they in the pits reading the tape? I should get a shirt. I read the tape, you read the newspaper. No, they're not, right? So they don't know that information. Seriously, though, they read the newspaper. All they know is the end result. So think about in modern times, the tape has essentially been replaced with the price chart, right? This is our tape, right? This is information on what the market is doing. That's all the tape was before electronic charts. This is our tape, right? Candlesticks or just price quotes, right? Now think about the same thing, right? So professional traders, I'm not talking about smart money, institutional money. You don't have to be good, but I'm talking about traders who approach it like a pro, like all of us in here. We are consistently looking at charts, right? Because they provide us information. The hobby traders, are they watching price charts at all? No, right? We're watching charts. We're reading charts. They're reading the newspaper, right? So they don't see the same information that we have. And this is why, even though we don't have anywhere near the amount of information that institutional traders have, but we have more information, or we use more information than what your typical hobby trader does, right? So when we're looking at a chart on Bitcoin, for example, and the chart has this massive bearish candle, right? This massive bearish candle that goes from 54 down to 42, right? Think about the differences in stories that each side hears or sees, right? We'll start with the hobby trader, right? They're seeing headlines, right? Bitcoin, 54 to 42, or even 52 to 49 if you're looking at the close, right? What does that tell you? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about that? 52 to 49. Or they'll probably, headlines always want to do the lows. Bitcoin went from 52 to 42, right? 10K drop, right? 10K drop, right? That seems massive, right? Gigantic. Now, traders that are not just reading the news, but reading the chart, what do you see? Well, you see that massive drop, but how did the candle close? You saw a massive drop, but you also saw a massive recovery. We know if we have a long leg, a long wick, a long tail at the bottom of a candle, it means that there was a rejection. So yes, at some point there was a massive drop, but there was also a massive recovery. So it's not just Bitcoin 54 to 42 or Bitcoin 54 to 49. It's Bitcoin 54 to 42 and then recovery from 42 to 49. Now, I would ask you this. Are we looking at two different stories here? The serious trader versus the hobby trader? Are we reading two different books? Are we getting two different bits of information? I would say yes. One is a panic, like you mentioned earlier. One is a panic. One is like, oh no, massive drop, 10K drop, right? The other one is like, drop, but recovery. So you followed it up with the rest of the information. The next candlestick is an inside bar, positive inside bar, doji, pin bar doji. The next one is another long wicked candle that gives us a higher high, higher close. We can see the potential continuation of a recovery. At least that's the information that's on the chart for us. The news doesn't capture. The news has given up on Bitcoin, right? Because these three little candles, do they do anything? After the 10K drop, right? Do these three little candles that did little movement, do they make the headlines? Does anyone go to the headlines today? Bitcoin recovered. No, they don't care. So the story that we have is like, hey, there may be a recovery on the horizon. The story that they're getting is nothing. They're not getting a story. So because they're not getting a news story and they're not actively involved in the markets, right? They're just assuming it's the same old story. Hey, is Bitcoin still, you probably got this question. Hey, is Bitcoin still dropping? Right? You guys get that? Like, no, dude, that was a week ago. Like, what are you talking about? Bitcoin still dropping? I haven't heard anything about it. Still dropping, right? You get that all the time. So what happens is this gives investors, speculators, whatever you want to be, Bobby said, this gives us great clues. If you're someone that wants to buy, you have a technical reason to buy right here. And when this thing does start rallying up, or if it does start rallying up, the news is going to come out after that, right? Then news is going to come back and say, oh, Bitcoin recovery. We just made 10K rally on Bitcoin. And now guess what? The hobbyers, now they're seeing the news event. It's new to them. We've been knew it, right? Bobby knew this 2 weeks ago, or 2 candles ago. If you're on a weekly chart, 2 candles ago, that's 2 weeks. But Bobby knew this a while ago, right? Hobby traders are knowing it now, and then you get this massive rush of those hobby traders. Oh, I got to get in. FOMO, I can't miss the move. And that's just pushing your position up. And then eventually they'll get skunked out and someone will take advantage of them. And that's how the game goes. But they're late to the party because we're reading two different things. All the information is available to all of us, right? It's 2021, right? Like a charting package is available to everyone. But not everyone's playing the same game. Not everyone's using it. It's the same thing like sports betting, right? Vegas has much more information than we do, right? They're incredible, by the way. Shout out to sports gamblers, man. But there are two different types of gamblers out there, retail gamblers. There are sports gamblers that actually do research. Like my buddy has this immaculate spreadsheet he puts together each week, which crunches all the numbers and allows him to make accurate predictions on scores and rushing yards and passing yards and tendencies, right? He used to work for the IRS, so he knows all these numbers, right? And he makes this is my gambling buddy as well. We used to go to casino. He makes his predictions based off hard data, like back testing results. Then there are your sports bettors out there that just like go off feel. Like, man, I like the Cowboys. I'm going to bet on the Cowboys every week. No matter who they're playing, they're going to cover. Just because they make an emotional decision or a recency bias based decision. So be the trader that reads the chart, not the trader that reads the news. So let's go to Ethereum next. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. As always, make sure you check out the free content over at tier1trading.com. We've got workshops, we've got webinars, we've got a trial membership as well over there. So check it out, www.tier1trading.com.